Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hey, my name is Brittany and I talk all things beauty here on my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a review over the new Too Faced Better Than a Chocolate eyeshadow palette. I do not have the original chocolate palette, so I can't do comparisons like new versus old, but I do have some thoughts on this palette. This is not a first impressions. I have used this 4 times. Today I'll be doing a 5th look with it, so I definitely have lots of opinions on this palette right here. And I do have like the Sweet Peach palette from them, so I know like the old school formula, so I can definitely give you like an idea like new versus old with the formula. But yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts on this beauty and if you want to see a look, then please keep watching. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. You get 18 shades total. You get 10 shimmers and you get 10 mattes in here. And I do have some swatches already done on my hand, and I will also insert some that are more like close up. I did these shimmers first and then I did the mattes, but I do want to insert some swatches, so I'll just kind of like put that over here. But I will be doing a look with this palette, and it does smell like chocolate. So this retails for, I believe, $55 if I can remember. And like I said, I have used this 4 times before, and this will be my 5th time using the palette. And I'm just going to jump into the look. So I'm going to zoom you in, and we can get started on this look together. So I have noticed, I'm just going to go in with the buttercream. This is like the one that I always go into first. It's just like a good transition shade on my skin tone. And it really does smell like chocolate when you are applying it to the face, but it doesn't linger all day. So if you're like sensitive to scents, I think you'll be fine. It's just like whenever you are applying it, you just get like a nice whiff of chocolate. And I'm just going to keep building that up. Do the same thing on the other eye. Now I will say that these mattes they're like very beginner friendly. They're pigmented but not overly pigmented, and you do get a little bit of kick up, which that doesn't bother me, but I just wanted to note that. Now I'm going to go in with Nice Buns, and this is such a beautiful matte. I love this shade right here. It's very creamy. So I will say the mattes in this palette are overall, I have used almost every single one, and they are all across the board very well in my opinion. They blend out just fine. They layer beautifully with each other. But the thing is, you get a lot of kind of like repeat shades, kind of like these two right here are very similar, and then like these two are very similar. So you do have quite a few shades that look very similar once you get them on the eye. So just keep that in mind if you are wanting this palette. You may get a few like overlapping shades, but these are also like everyday shades. They're pretty neutral, kind of leaning more on the warm tone, but for the most part they're pretty neutral in my opinion. So I do love them for everyday use. Now this one right here, it's more of a pinky toned, and this is a purpley. So if you pair these two with this purple, I think you get a really pretty, you can kind of go more cool tone, but overall with this palette you're going to get a pretty neutral or warm tone leaning look. Now I'm going to deepen things up. I'm going to go in with the shade Bitter Half right here and just put that on the outer corner and work that in just for some added definition. On the lid, I just want to show you how sheer these shimmers are. So I'm going to go in with the purple, which is called Sugar Rush, and I just kind of want to show you like real life time, because just really how sheer these are. So once you get it on that lid, you can't see it. Like, and this is one that is super hard pressed, so you can build it up as much as you want, but it's going to take a while because it's just so sheer. I've also noticed that a few of the other ones are very lackluster as well, but let me show you 2 that are just incredible. So I think the shade Skinny Dip and What the Fudge, those shimmers, they are absolutely stunning. Very pigmented, a satin. They're not like a metallic, but you definitely get lots of like payoff with these. Like, they are very pigmented in my opinion. They're not sparkly, but they're still very beautiful. So I'm going to go in with the shade Skinny Dip that I just swatched for you, and just kind of put that on the middle so you can see. It's kind of hit and miss with the shimmers. Some are really good and some are just like meh, but in my opinion the purple one in this palette, it's the only one that I'm just like, I was really excited about that one, and that's the only one in this palette that I think it's not a very good shimmer in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I want to do the blue on the lower lash line for like a pop of blue. And just kind of show you, that's another one. So the purple and the blue, I was really excited for. And those are the two that are very like, where's the pigment? Where's the pigment at? But it's called Bless Your Tart. And that's the blue right here. It's very beautiful, but it's just very subtle, if you will. And the swatches that Too Faced released, it got me really excited because it looked really unique. And it had like a purple shift in my opinion. But in person, I do see the purple shift. It's just once you get it on the eye, like where did it go? This is a shimmer that you just have to work for because it's very hard pressed in the pan. So you don't get much pigment. I have been playing with lots of indie brands and you know their shimmers. They're on a whole new level, so it's really hard to go from, for example, like Adept Cosmetics, which is about the same price point as this. This is $55. So it's really hard to go from that quality and that price point to something that's the same price point and this quality, if that makes sense. Because I've been really working at this palette. And I just have to work really hard for every look. And 9 times out of 10, every time I go into this, I'm reaching for another indie brand to layer a shimmer on top. So this is what the blue looks like. It's honestly, let me turn down my lights just a little bit. Because in person, it's pretty vibrant, in my opinion, once you start like layering it up. And just keep in mind, if you go in with a wet brush, you know, you're going to get more of a bolder blue. But I'm just going to keep it at this for right now. And also, I wanted to say that this shade right here, it's very textured and it's really pretty when you get it on. And same on the dessert. I think these two shades are very beautiful. And Milk It, I'm going to put that on the inner corner. This shade has sparkle. It's kind of subtle. But if you're wanting a little bit of sparkle to your look, I think you would really like that shade. Just keep in mind, you know, you do have to build it up. But it's very, 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 very pretty on the inner corner. On the lid, it's kind of like one of those where it kind of blends away. But on the inner corner, it does highlight the look very beautifully. So I'm going in with the shade. And it's very textured. And you do get fallout with it. Just keep that in mind. But I'm going to put this one more on the inner corner, because this is one of my favorite shimmers in the palette. It's got like, it's brown, but it's kind of got a little bit of a pink undertone to it, which I do adore that. It just kind of helps the palette have a little bit more variety. I'm now going to do the same thing over here, but if you don't like textured shimmers, this one does. It's very chunky, so you may have to spray it to make it like work best for you, because you will get some fallout, but you know, fallout doesn't typically bother me. Just to layer another shimmer on top, because I kind of want to show you multiple shimmers on the lid, I'm going to go in with Ooey Gooey. I really dislike that name so bad. I'm just like, ew. But I want to pop that on top because it looks really pretty, and just kind of show you that these are not sparkly, but you do get a pretty metallic look to them. So I really do like that shade. Now I want to go in with the shade Bitter Half and a little bit of Browning Points. Just kind of mix those two together and go back in the outer corner just to deepen it up, just to make sure we didn't lose any depth. And do the same thing on the other eye. And then I'm going to go in with mascara, and then I'll be back to show you kind of like the finished look and give you my thoughts on this palette. Okay, so all I did was add some mascara and a little bit of liner, and this is the finished look. And now I'm going to zoom you out and give you my final thoughts. I have so many thoughts on this palette. I'm trying to think, where do I even begin? So I just think, let me just start off by saying, I do think that this formula is improved versus like the old school formula that I see in my Sweet Peach palette. Granted, I have had this palette a very, very, very long time, but I do think that the mattes in here are very, very good, very beginner friendly. They're pigmented, they blend well. It doesn't matter which matte you go into, they're all going to blend out together. They're going to look beautiful layered on one another. So So I do appreciate that. So I do think that this matte formula is very, it's improved, it's pigmented, you do get a little bit of kick up, it blends well. So I have nothing but good to say when it comes to the matte formula in here for this price point. Now the shimmer formula in here, that's where I kind of get like mixed feelings, because a few of these shimmers are super good and some of them are just not it. So let me just start off by saying, overall I would say all but 3 of the shimmers, they're really good. But 3 to 4 shimmers, it just takes a lot more building up. These 2 shades right here are more on the chunky side. They're more textured, but I still absolutely love that appearance. I just want to note that, because I know some people do not like a chunky shimmer because fallout and all of that. But so these 2 give you, in the gold shade, so you do get some shimmer in here that have more of a chunky formula. Some, like for the example, Milk It, this is a very sheer glittery topper, and I think it's beautiful for the inner corner. These 2, Skinny Dipped and What the Fudge, these are an incredible, very pigmented satin shade. So overall, I do think that this is a really good palette. But for the price point, that's what I'm talking about right here. This palette is, I believe, $55, and I would not, well, I did pay that price, but I would not recommend it to you at that price point. I would say jump on it if you can get it for 50% off. You know, Too Faced, kind of like Urban Decay, they tend to go on sale very quick and sudden. So I would say if you want this palette, if you have your, if it's catching your eye, maybe try to hold off, see if it will go on sale, and then snag it up. I would definitely recommend it to you for like a discounted price. But like full price, I don't know if I feel comfortable recommending it, just because there's a few within the shimmers, they're hit and miss. Some, like this purple, it is so hard pressed. I do not see any pigment whenever I get it on the face at all. But some of these shimmers, it's just kind of hit and miss. So some of them are very textured, which I love that. And the shade Milk It's very sparkly, so I do enjoy that. So it really just depends. If you have, you know, if you're like, I want that palette now, I think you would be happy with it. I really do. It's a very beautiful everyday palette, but if you can hold off, I say hold off, because I bet, like, my gut's telling me this will go on sale pretty soon, and I think you're going to love it. The mattes are incredible. Most of the shimmers are very good. Just a few are hit and miss, but that's kind of like my final thoughts on this palette. I do hope to see them redo this Sweet Peach palette, because I adore this palette, and I would like to see this revamped. But as far as the chocolate palette goes, I do like it. I'm glad that I have it. Now, if you are an indie makeup lover and you buy this at the $55 price point, do not think that you're going to get a depth formula. Don't think you're going to get an indie formula for this price point. So I used to buy lots and lots of Too Faced palettes, and you know, they're pretty high, kind of like Anastasia, you know, they're like that mid-range. And then I found Natasha Denona and I fell in love, and I was like, why would I spend that whenever I could just splurge on a Natasha Denona palette and get an excellent formula? Well, now I have fallen in love with indie makeup brands, and I see that you get an incredible formula for so much like cheaper. So if you love indie makeup, I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to fall in love with this palette, but if you just want an everyday palette, you know, you want some good mattes, you want like a subtle shimmer, I think that you would enjoy this palette. But I'm glad that I picked it up. I do like it, and I have been reaching for this for like everyday looks. Every time I wear this, my husband compliments my makeup. He's like, I love your makeup today. So just know, I do get compliments when I wear this palette, but if you're looking for like a pop-in shimmer, I don't know if this is a palette for you. I normally reach into this for the mattes, and I'll like pop into one of my indie palettes and get a beautiful shimmer. But for just like everyday use, like running errands, you know, doing your thing, I think you're gonna love this palette. I really do love it for everyday. And like I said, I have been getting compliments every time I wear this palette. So people like this palette, and it smells good. It smells amazing. So that's, you know, that's a benefit for this palette. But I just, you know, when I saw this, I was like, do I want it? I don't need it. I kind of want it. And I was going back and forth, back and forth. And then whenever I got the new Natasha Denona Mini Bronze Palette, let me show you it. I do have a review and another look on my channel. When I got this palette, I just wanted more warm tones in my collection. So I was going back and forth on this palette. And then whenever I picked up the new Natasha Denona, I was like, I'm getting the Too Faced. Because I was really curious about the new formula. And I do think that it is updated. It's really good as far as the mattes go. So I'm really glad that I have it, and I do hope this review was helpful. I take a lot of time and thought in my reviews because it's like a big responsibility, in my opinion, for me to sit here and recommend something or to not recommend something. So I feel like a lot of pressure sometimes because I never want you to buy a palette and then be like, oh, I'm just not loving it. So I wanted to try this palette several times because I could not get my thoughts in order, and now after trying it a few times, I'll let you know my thoughts. And like I said, I feel very confident recommending this for like a half off, but not the full price. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts, show you a look, let you know my opinion on this palette, and I do hope it was helpful. But you'll have to let me know, are you picking this palette up? Is it on your wish list, or are you over it and you're gonna skip it? I would love to know. Well, but I'm going to wrap this up wherever you are in the world. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. Stay beautiful. Bye, guys.